Hello, happy Monday. I hope everybody is having a good morning so far. Today is the last Monday of 2024, which is absolutely wild. And bear with me, I'm getting over a flu. You know, it was a sick Christmas. It wasn't white either. It was sick and it was dry, just like my throat. Okay, so today we're gonna be doing a past, present, and future reading. And I actually already started this reading in another room, and then I moved because I just wasn't feeling the vibe. But the first two cards that we have, we're going to be doing a reading where we dig into our past, our future, and our present. I said that weird, but you know, shaking shit up. Last few days of the year. And honestly, are these real days? I don't know. I'm in the void, I'm in the ether, I'm floating around like most of you probably. I saw a post where somebody was talking about like in between Christmas and New Year's, everyone's eating whatever for breakfast and like not really existing. Like there are no real rules in between Christmas and New Year's, and I agree with that. Okay, so for these first two cards, we have the Fairy Queen, Protection, and we have Baby. So these cards are actually they're actual past life cards. And for this Protection card with this Baby card, to start for the past, I'm not sure who this message is for. This feels very specific. And these aren't the only cards I'm going to pull. I'm going to keep pulling. But just for this thread of energy specifically, I think somebody's spirit guides want them to know that they have always been protected. There has always been this deep ancestral protection that you have always carried with you. And I'm getting that someone has a relationship to a baby in the past. So whether it be someone who, I'm really just getting strongly, and this is a trigger warning. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out the best way to put this message into words. But there might be someone who has lost something. So whether it be an actual baby, whether it be a sense of innocence, there might have been something taken from you in the past, whether it be in your childhood, whether it be in a past life. But I'm just getting that there was some sense of loss. There was some loss that took place. And through this loss, there was energetically someone gained an angel and gained protection through the loss of this innocence, through the loss of a child, through the loss of something in regards to a baby. And or maybe there's someone here who has felt like, for better lack of words, a motherless child, has felt as though they had to do things on their own, has felt as though there was not an adequate sense of nurturing when growing up. But despite all of that, there has always been a sense of protection around you. You have always had protection around you. Sisterhood of the Rose, Beauty and Devotion, Priestess, Mystic, Teacher. Okay, so in the past, you may have been someone who went through some really difficult things, but learned how to turn those difficulties into tools. Someone has learned how to take those tools and teach others how to navigate difficult situations, right? So this is bringing up Chiron in astrology. So Chiron is the wounded healer, half horse, half man. He's a centaur. And he was wounded, but his wound is a wound that could never really fully be healed. Chiron in our astrological chart represents the wounded healer. It represents our deepest wound. But the thing about this deepest wound is that even though it is said that this wound cannot ever be fully healed, the thing is, this wound and the fact that you are tending to this wound throughout your life, this wound actually for a lot of us becomes our greatest gift. It becomes one of our greatest strengths, because when you have this deep wound within yourself that you're always trying to heal, always in one way or another having to go back to find these different moments where you are healing different perspectives or different aspects of this wound, because you're learning, because you have such an intimate relationship with the nature of whatever that wound is, whatever sign your Chiron is in will tell you about the nature of the wound. It'll also, when you look at the house that is associated with your Chiron and the degree that Chiron is in, it can tell you more about this wound. But I really like to look at Chiron as a strength, because I'll use mine as an example. Mine is in Leo. My Chiron is in Leo. That means that as a child, I had this deep wounding around self-expression, around putting myself out there, around really allowing myself to fully embrace my light. And I feel as though a lot of people in my life would say or be surprised that that's something that is one of my biggest wounds, because mine is also in the third house, which is the house of communication, the house of teaching. And a part of what I've done throughout my life is teach young people how to access their own authenticity so that they can bring forth their own self-expression, so that they can tap into their own self-expression. A lot of times people become teachers of their deepest wound, because as someone who is constantly working to heal the wound, you are one of the best people to teach others about how to move through this wounding, because you have done it yourself. And so with this card, the Sisterhood of the Rose, beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, teacher, in a past life, you were somebody who went through difficult things, but you didn't just go through difficult things for nothing. You went through difficult things and you then learned how to create these tools and then teach others how to move through similar wounding. And so you are somebody who has been protected as you lean into this gift, as you lean into this ability to heal others through experience, right? So you've already gone through a lot of trying to patch up this wound, trying to move through this wound and navigate how to make the best of it. And in the past, this spread is suggesting that in the past you are somebody who helped other people to move through their own wounding. And then we have starseed, what lights you up. So in the past, you were probably a starseed. Starseeds are beings that incarnated on Earth from other places that existed. And starseeds are people who are typically here to change the world, to bring their light forward, to impact other people through sharing their light. Starseeds are people who uplift humanity through sharing their light, through creating webs of light, through connecting with others. A lot of starseeds are what we would now call as empathetic people, and the term empathetic is also growing because as a collective our vibration is raising. My head is tingling, which always means something. Some message is coming through. You're a starseed. You've been a starseed. You're somebody who might have felt out of place throughout your childhood or in a past life. You might not have been accepted by others, but you've always had this sense of purpose, this very strong sense of purpose, and this sense of needing to do something important in the world. And so now you probably have this, you've probably been somebody who's always had this deep sense of knowing that there's something important, immediate, and valuable that you have to share with the world. Even if you're still figuring out exactly what that is and exactly what this looks like, you are somebody who has always had this deep sense of purpose and has known that you are put on this earth to really impact others. So then we have artist. Okay, for our last past life card, we have artist. Okay, so you are somebody who has taken everything that you have learned, this wounding, as you move through the world, you have had this sense of protection as you have learned how to use that wounding to heal others, to help others, to teach others how to move through the world despite this wounding. And you're also probably somebody who in a past life was an artist. So in one way or another, you created art to impact others. So for the light attributes, this came out upright. So for the light attributes of an artist, we have expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. So in a past life, you were probably somebody who took the things that you learned and not only taught others, but also created works of art to heal and inspire others. And for somebody, you were even somebody who taught other people how to take the things that they've learned and turn it into art. Okay, so I'm also getting that with this baby card, this could also represent that somebody taught young people how to take the things that they were experiencing and turning it into art in order to heal as they were actually growing up. So for some of you, you were artists and your art was directed towards adults, or you helped adults, but for somebody specific, you were somebody who worked with young people. And there are also people here that worked with people as they were grieving the loss of family members, or as they were transitioning from this life plane to the next, is what I'm getting for somebody. And through this work, you have always had a sense of protection around you. So I'm not sure who this message is for specifically. If it is for you, I would love to hear from you in the comments. I'm going to pick an affirmation card for our past, and then we're going to move into our present. Okay, so we have everyone's a teacher. So everyone I cross paths with, I'm having a hard time talking today, so y'all just bear with me. Everyone I cross paths with is a teacher in that moment. The ones who give me the fun lessons are the ones I call friends. The ones who give me the hard lessons, I sometimes call a-holes. They've chosen a tough job, but someone's got to do it. So today I'm thanking all the a-holes. Thank you, a-holes, for playing your part in making me a better person. So this goes directly into what we were just talking about you being a teacher in a past life. And then we have friendliness. And that's what I'm picking up too, is that the kind of teacher that you were patient, you were kind, you were someone who really appreciated the individuality of everyone that you taught. Like, you weren't a dictator, you weren't somebody who just wanted to give people a hard time. Like, I'm really sensing this gentle spirit, and that there was positive karma for the way that you moved with grace through the things that you experienced. And as you turn those experiences into tools to help others, you gained this sense of positive karma as you came into this life. And so with that, we will move into our future reading. Or I'm sorry, present. I keep skipping the present, which is also, I think, important because for a lot of us, it is hard for us to live in the present. Typically, we are in one way or another, like in the past or living in the future, which is why so many of us have anxiety, because we're worried about things that haven't even happened yet, or concerned about things that have already gone past us. But we are now focusing on the present, on the now, and the card that has come up is Motoka's Truth, Reconciliation. And so this card asks us, what uncomfortable truth is standing between the reconciliation of me and another person? Right? So this card talks about Pocahontas and how her original name was Motoka. God, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But how she was renamed and forced to live in this experience that was not her own truth. And for a lot of us, we have been experiencing living so out of alignment in our present and not really being able to fully connect with our truth. And for so many of us, that is something that we have been working to break down, which is really fitting for Aquarius energy. Pluto just moved into Aquarius, and we're going to start seeing the foundation being ripped out from these institutions that have been failing us for such a long time, because that is something that is calling for our attention right now, not only collectively but also individually. We are ripping out the foundation and tearing out the weeds of structures and things within us and within these companies, these institutions, throughout our government. We're tearing out the things that have not been working for us for a long time. And then we also have the Strength card, right? So in the present, we have been in so many ways looking for the strength to move through these uncomfortable truths within ourselves. So many of us have been going and moving through these uncomfortable truths, and it's been difficult, and it's been something that a lot of us have found to be very daunting, and a lot of us have taken time to be in hermit mode, whether it be forcibly through like the pandemic. Through the pandemic, a lot of us were kind of forced to go in isolation, and this isolation caused a lot of us to actually have time to see what uncomfortable truths and what beliefs we have been existing in and just allowing to play out subconsciously without us really understanding, like, I'm operating in this way because these are beliefs that I've had from a child that I've never sat and actually asked myself, is this something that I believe? Is this a narrative that I want to continue to play out? And so we've not only been asking for strength to move through those things, but this card is also saying that we have had the strength to move through these things. And we're literally moving into a new 9-year cycle where the strength that we have been accumulating over this lifetime up to this point, that strength is going to help us to tear down these institutions within ourselves and within our communities and throughout the world that have not been serving us. And so this Strength card says, you are hereby declared a strong, resilient warrior of heroic proportions. Enjoy your battles, whatever they are, because you're guaranteed to come through them stronger, brighter, and more compassionate. And based on what I know of mythology, probably with great hair and a six-pack. Okay, so a lot of us have been what feels like in this space of hell. Like literally in this space of just like, what the hell is going on? When are things going to shift? Things have been really hard for a lot of us for a long time. Like our present has felt very discombobulated. We've been on these healing journeys that, you know, we know are non-linear, but it's like a lot of us have been experiencing getting 5 steps forward just to be propelled back 7. And it's been frustrating for a lot of us. But what it has been aiding us in is this ability to trust in our own strength and trust that we have what it takes to move into this next phase of our journey. And so we have been developing strength. We have been metaphorically working out up until this point so that we can get to a point of eventually and fully embracing the joy within us and within others. But in order for us to actually get to a space to see, appreciate, and hold space for that, there have been a lot of things that we have had to do away with. And so for the present message, the next message we have is dance with life. Do something to change your energy. So right now we are being asked to go with the flow, to change our energy, to do something different. If you used to enjoy, and this is going to be a literal thing, but I know I'm feeling that there's somebody who used to enjoy dancing, who used to enjoy movement, and you are being called to go back and reclaim those parts of yourself. And this doesn't even mean that you have to even join a dance class or go back to school for dance or anything like this. Literally just turning on some music and just allowing yourself to dance, to flow, to feel, to breathe, to be. Because we've been so constricted, we've been so restricted within our own energy. Like, there's been so much holding, there's been so much fear. We've been operating, a lot of us have been operating out of a place of fear, not out of a place of love. And I'm not going to jump the gun because we haven't gotten to the future part yet. But for a lot of us, life has been hard. Things have been hard. And we've been kind of waiting to clear out some of these karmas, some of these collective karmas and individual karmas, so that we can get to this place of ease. And so we have a moonlit dance. I love that. We got dance twice for the present. A moonlit dance, feminine energy. This card is like the card before, asking you to reconnect with yourself through dance. And this dance with life doesn't necessarily have to be a thing in regards to dance. Dancing with life can be, going outside and sitting in the sun for 10 minutes a day, once a week. If that's something that you have been wanting to do, but you have not had the time or made the time to do it, this is just asking you to shake up your energy, to do something different, to move in a new direction. And this moonlit dance card is asking us to reconnect with our femininity. And even if you're a person that heavily identifies with your masculine energy, there is still a balance to be found between our masculine and feminine energy within all of us. And through this moonlit dance, this card is asking us to tap into our femininity, to tap into our softness, and it's reminding us that our intuition is an extremely important and valuable means of information. Our bodies and our intuitive hits they've always been important ways to receive information, but as we are collectively growing up, in better lack of words, as we're growing up, we're realizing and we're learning how much we actually are connected to our inner worlds, and how we truly do hold the answers. All the answers that we need are inside of us, and our bodies have been trying to communicate with us intuitively. Our higher selves have been trying to communicate with us to help us to navigate a lot of the difficulties that we're experiencing, and there's so many things that have been distracting us from feeling our bodies, whether that be the food that we're consuming, the food that has been normalized, but it's really food that has been slowly taking us out and not allowing us to really connect with our true selves. We have our phones, we have technology everywhere. There's so many distractions. We have health distractions. We have so many things that have been put into place systematically so that we don't pay attention to what our intuition is trying to tell us. And then there's also this commentary on the fact that intuition is not, there's always been a commentary on the fact that intuition is not an important form of information, and it is. It's extremely valuable, and right now we are being asked to tap into the strength that we have, gained, but also to recognize the amount of strength that we have gained from our experiences, and trust that the protection that we have had since before we even got here is something that is not going anywhere. That sense of protection, and you can allow yourself to move out of this state of fear and into a state of love, and find the things that light you up, find the things that bring you joy, find the people that are your soul family. And in order to find your soul family, we're being asked to connect with ourselves intuitively. We're being asked to tap in to that inner strength, to that inner creativity, to our past life gifts that we have always had. And we are all artists. Like, whether or not you are actively living a creative life can be lived by anybody. A creative life simply means there is something that you are creating every day. So if that literally means that for 10 minutes a day you're coloring, then you're living a creative life. And right now we are being asked to lean into that and to trust that we have the space to be able to do that. We've been so much in survival mode up until this point, and this spread is really wanting us to understand that we can start to release some of that heavy energy and really allow ourselves to dance and to flow with what's coming up, and allow ourselves to be explorers. And then we have inspiration. So much inspiration is going to be coming up as we allow ourselves to go with the flow, to explore these new avenues within ourselves, to go down the path less traveled within our minds, to allow ourselves to dream the impossible dream, right? So for inspiration, a lot of us are being inspired. We're being inspired by the things that we are finding as we are allowing ourselves to dance with life. And as we are connecting to the truths that we are discovering within ourselves and about our world, we are allowing the facades to fall away. We're taking off the rose glasses. We're seeing things for what they are. We're being asked to see things for what they are so that we can really connect with who we are and what we want, what we desire. So that is what we are being asked for, or that is what we are being asked to do in our present, is to free fall. And so now we're going to move into the future. And the future can be any time from now and beyond. Okay? Positive thinking. I love that to start. So for the positive thinking card, it says, in the garden of my mind, I water the good thoughts and weed out the bad ones. I throw in forgiveness and empathy seeds by the handful if I want, and I take a lawnmower to that jealousy and resentment patch. I am a pretty badass mind gardener. So I love this image of this person just watering, nurturing their mind, because I was just thinking about this idea of having boundaries within our own minds, like allowing ourselves to think freely, but also knowing when we have sat in a negative emotion for too long, or if we are allowing ourselves to compare ourselves to others. Like, this card is asking us to set up boundaries within ourselves so that we are mentally creating our best life, because we can create a mental hell within our own minds. Like, freedom, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, this came up a couple weeks ago, is just freedom starts in the mind. And whatever the state of your mind is what reflects out in your reality. And so in our future, we're being asked to really learn how to unapologetically lean into this positive thinking so that we can start to create the realities that we wish to see. And I know I hear somebody saying, like, it's really difficult to lean into the positive, especially sometimes we have this mindset that the world is like going to shit and everything is falling apart. But if that is what we think, then that is what we will see. Our minds will find evidence of things falling apart. Our mind will find evidence of everything that's going wrong if that's what we tune our frequency to, if that's what it is that we're focusing on. Whatever we focus on expands. And so as we take the time in our future in our present, to allow ourselves to dance with life and to find the flow, that is naturally going to lead us into this positive thinking, into these new ways of talking to yourself, right? So affirmations might be something that is helpful as we move into the next phase of our journey, because affirmations, whether it be speaking them out loud, listening to them at night, writing them on sticky notes, whatever you tell yourself is what you will believe. And so if you're feeding yourself positive thoughts, if you're feeding yourself highly creative thoughts, if you are telling yourself good things about yourself, eventually you'll have no choice but to believe them. But it takes consistency, it takes discipline to actually allow yourself to create these new pathways within your mind so that you can start to actually experience the joy and the life and the good that you've always been seeking. Because there's so many things we don't have control over in life, but there are so many things we do have control over. And the state of our mind is something that we have control over. We have control over the negative thoughts, right? So even if you're in a space where there are constant negative thoughts, there are steps you can take to start to stop, acknowledge the thought, and then replace that thought with a new thought, right? So if I'm consistently telling myself, everybody's better than me, everybody's better than me, everybody's better than me, if this is something I've been telling myself my whole life, and I now want to start to implement positive thinking, I can take the time when I hear that, everybody's better than me, everybody's better than me, stopping, acknowledging, okay, that's something that I've been thinking about. You can try to get to the root of why you've been thinking that thought, but something else to just do in that moment is to replace that negative thought with a positive thought, even if I don't yet believe it, right? But if I'm thinking everybody else is better than me, everybody else is better than me, if I can stop and say, okay, I have everything within myself to live my best life. I have everything within myself to live my best life. I don't know why, but for me, that's like the counter. That's like the opposite of everybody's better than me. Because for me to think everything that I need is within me, for me, that is something that is taking away this need to compare. Because it's like I'm just turning inward and focusing on the things that are within me. I can start to find gratitude for the things that make me me. I can start to say out loud the things that I appreciate about myself. It's just like taking the time to tend to the garden, taking the time to cut out the weeds or negative thoughts, and to plant new seeds, new thoughts, new things that can help us to positively move into this next cycle. And energetically, we have the opportunity to do that right now because there are so many shifts happening. It's like we're at the beginning of a thing. We're at the beginning of a thing. So we got January's rebirth, okay? So I love January's rebirth for the future because we're going into January in just a couple of days. And we're going into 2025. In the future, there's rebirth coming. This is something that I don't think this is a secret to any of us, but there is rebirth happening. There are things that are changing at a cellular level, transformations that are changing or happening at a cellular level. And in our future, we can look forward to experiencing new aspects of ourselves that will surprise us, but also new aspects of ourselves that we've kind of always been waiting to be seen by others, to be witnessed by others. But now we are going to be in the space and have the tools. We are soon going to have the tools to be able to actually live in alignment with who we know we are. And so with this rebirth, this is just acknowledging the fact that a lot of change is coming, and it's positive change. We're watering the garden of our minds, and not just individually but also collectively. Eventually we are going to get to a place where we look at ourselves in the mirror and we are almost unrecognizable, but in the best way possible. Unrecognizable to our past selves, but feeling this sense of this is who I know, this is who I've always known I am. I've always known that I was this person. Like we're going to run directly into the people that we were meant to be as we encounter this rebirth. And then we have no. And so maybe somebody is in the future going to be asking or is already asking a question where you're looking for a yes or no answer. I'm not sure. Only you will know how this is relevant to your life, but this might come back up, okay? So there might be a moment in the future where you are looking for the direction to go in, looking for the best direction to go in, looking for the answer to a yes or no question. And so we have this no card. Wait, postpone, say no. Okay, but this is also, for me, what it's bringing up is that if you are in a season of healing and if you are in a season of pause, and I love that this says wait, it says no, but it says wait, postpone, pause. A lot of us are going to be breaking down so many old belief systems within ourselves that might trigger some things and might put us in a space where it's like, as the new year is coming, there might be new opportunities that come up. We might have raised our vibration and our frequency in a way and aligned with our authentic selves in a way that things start to come to us faster than we were expecting, right? I think this card wants us to understand that in the future, as these options come your way, you don't necessarily have to say yes to all of them. Allow yourself the time to process any of the things that you need to process. I'm just really seeing that there's somebody right now who's going to be in a season of healing and in a season of clearing, and there might be an opportunity that comes up in the midst of that. Now, for some people, that opportunity might be exactly what they need in that moment, but I'm getting that there are some people that are going to be more so in this quiet state of healing and not necessarily in the space yet to say yes to an opportunity. But this spread wants you to know, and what's just coming up right now, your spirit guides want you to know that there are endless possibilities that are going to come your way. And just because you say no to something does not mean that you are saying no to everything that you want, or saying no to the journey. It's okay to say no. It's okay to check in with yourself and to acknowledge, this is not something that I want, or this is not something that I want right now. And then also, as we are shifting, there might be opportunities that arise that were pleasing to who we've been, but not necessarily aligning with who we are now or who we are walking into. And so there might be things that come up that, like, you from 2015 might be like, oh my God, like, I've been waiting for something like this to fall into my lap. But you might find that when it actually shows up, it's not what you want anymore. And that's okay. Because there are going to be so many shifts happening, and so many of us have been wearing masks without even realizing that we were wearing masks. And as we are moving towards authenticity and taking off these masks, we might find these different options falling into our laps and feeling like, oh, this is a sign. This is something that I wanted in the past. So now that this thing has shown up in my reality, I'm supposed to take it. Sometimes we are presented with things so that we can actually grapple or ask ourselves, is this still what I want? What parts of myself am I still holding on to that I want to let go of? That might be something that comes up in a situation where something you wanted in the past then shows up in your face, and then you have to ask yourself, is this still in alignment with who I am becoming? And that's really what I'm getting with that no card. And then that's leading us right into trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? Okay, so in the future, you are being asked to trust your path and to trust that sometimes our deepest wants, needs, and desires, we've been taught through people or just through our experiences that we shouldn't want for those things, or we can't have those things. This wants you to understand that you are the only one that knows what your path is supposed to be. And you are the only one who is going to be walking this path. There are going to be people along your path to help you as you go on this path, but you are the one who's walking this path. And your soul knows the direction to go. And I'm really getting that for a lot of us, we are going to be walking right into things that we have always wanted. Some of these things might even be things that you haven't even thought about in a long time, or lost dreams that you've just been like, oh, well, that's never going to happen. That's something that I gave up. That's something that, kind of fell off to the wayside. It's not really something that I want anymore. It doesn't align with who I think I'm supposed to be. This really wants you to trust your path and to know that the things that, as you align closer with who you are, the things that you really want are going to come your way, and to really allow yourselves the time in the present to dance with life, to connect with yourself, to connect with your femininity, to connect with that creativity, with your intuition, so that you can really have a deep innate sense of what makes sense for you. Because what makes sense for you may not make sense for other people, but that's why it's important to trust yourself, to trust your gut, to trust your path, because sometimes we can talk ourselves out of what we really want, need, and desire because of the opinions of other people. But whatever your heart is leading you to, know that you will and can have it. You can and will have it. And as these things start to show up in your life, know that you are deserving of them. Know that they are your birthright. I'm talking like, even if these were things like, if you had a dream in 3rd grade to be a pediatrician, and like from the bottom of your heart you really wanted to do that, and then for some reason like that dream just got thrown to the wayside, I guess, because of something that somebody said, or like some sort of belief that you gained about yourself. It's just important to understand that if during the present, as you are dancing with life, flowing, finding yourself, connecting with that authenticity, if you start to find, oh my God, there are little things coming up that are reminding me of this dream that I once had to be, what did I say, veterinarian? Girl, I don't even know. Whatever I just said, whatever career I just said. There might be things that start to come back up that remind you of the love that you have for that thing, and might energetically you might be reconnected with these long lost dreams that you thought were never going to come true, or just unrealistic for you. And just know that you are deserving of them, and to trust your path, to know that you have the right to say no to things, that a no to one thing is a yes to something else, even if that something else is just a yes to you resting and continuing to move through these patterns that you're working through within yourself, these negative thoughts or negative habits that you have. As you're moving through clearing all of that stuff out, know that you have the right to give yourself the space and the time, the rest and retreat needed in order to get to a space where you can confidently stand on 2 feet, feel grounded, and feel confident as you move forward into whatever it is that is calling you. Okay, so that is our past, present, and future. And then I just want to pull one last card, affirmation card for the new year. Okay, my phone died, but for the last card, we have one more affirmation card, and the card is good things to come. There are so many amazing gifts coming my way. I can't see them now because I respect the general convention of not peeking under wrapping paper. But they will show up when the time is just right. And that's when I'll remember how much fun it is to be surprised. Good things to come, which is a beautiful note to end on. All right, you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing new year. Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everybody. I hope everybody has an amazing rest of your week. Cheers in advance to 2025. So excited about what's to come. Good things are coming your way. All right, y'all. Have an amazing new year, and I'll talk to you guys in 2025.